Thanks for joining us once again. This is Greg. We focus today on something called HVIP. HVIP is a program in California that's designed to provide funding for the transition to electric vehicles from a number of different types of vehicles. And it so happens that places like Nikola are taking advantage and places like Tesla aren't getting direct funding from what I can see from that program. This is Greg for Teslafaninsight. Thanks once again for joining us. If this is your first time, welcome. If you're a repeat visitor, welcome back. We also want to thank our Patreon supporters. If you enjoyed the show, would like some better ideas on investing and trading, please join us on Patreon. So something kind of happened, which is that we finished our show regarding Elon sort of delaying on the Tesla Semi, and therefore we have a lot of competitors that have sort of entered the marketplace successfully and are generating a lot of sales that would have gone to Tesla had Elon come out in 2019 with the Tesla Semi as he had discussed. So one of the things that our show has been tangentially looking at for quite a while is the fact that California is the number one sort of sales location for Tesla vehicles in the United States and one of the most concentrated sales anywhere in the world. Norway actually leads the charge in terms of the number of electric vehicles for a number of reasons. So I wanted to specifically zone in today on what the state of California was going to do. What I thought was happening is California really was after an emissions goal, which is to get rid of all non-electric or fuel cell or other types of vehicles by 2035, and that they were using kind of state money to accomplish that. And come to find out it's being done, but not for the reason I thought. It turns out that as part of the settlement with VW, $423 million of the VW settlement went to the state of California. And the way they're using that money is to incentivize different entities for different fleet sizes to overall reduce pollution when it comes to all manner of ICE vehicles. So I decided to include a few screenshots that you're seeing here as part of this. One screenshot I thought was interesting and surprised by was that Nikola is probably one of the biggest beneficiaries per vehicle from the program, because they're doing fuel cell vehicles and the discount for those vehicles is as much as $280,000 per vehicle. The average EV is getting, or electric semi-truck is getting about $120,000. So one of the questions I didn't know that was answered by this is that it turns out that the program has, you could read for hours, the program has a lot of facets, but I was stunned to see even Hyundai's electric truck and Daimler, obviously, with their e-Cascadia. But there are a lot of different truck manufacturers from around the world that have entered to get this funding. One of the primary areas that have been focused on by the HVIP program is drayage. So the Port of Los Angeles, Port of Long Beach are two of the largest sort of shipping arrival locations in the world, and the movement of that freight off the docks into their inland destinations generates huge amounts of pollution, and therefore it's a concentrated place. One of the aspects of it that I actually saw through research and a show we've done with Daimler is they're actually doing a thing where they're using e-Cascadias in a fleet of about 50 vehicles to move freight in the electric space. This sort of brings up a concern of mine, which is that, yes, California is making moves with this money to systematically transition over to non-ICE vehicles for delivery of this freight. But I will say I'm very concerned that Tesla's sort of ducked this completely particularly when it comes to drayage in Los Angeles. The pollution that happens there is extremely intense, and by issuing discounts on electric buses, on electric trucks, on electric yard vehicles, etc., there's a lot of pounds of pollution that'll be removed from the air, and it will definitely make a difference in the greater Los Angeles area. But it turns out it'll make a difference everywhere. Now, I listed no funding from this has come in relative to Tesla, but it does turn out that a lot of the facilities set up by Pepsi includes money for paying for the Tesla semi-truck out of this program. So Tesla does not list any vehicles for sale that you can purchase on the site because they currently have such a backlog. There's no way that they could sort of break off. I guess a question pops to mind, which is why not take the sales that are available while the program is still running in California and have customers pick up as many as possible and save spending. What is going to end up happening, I think, based on the fact that California has listed 14,000 vehicles that they'd help fund in the EV space, is that I think we're going to end up with the money that seems to be allocated about $60 million a year, and there's $423 million. So what's starting to happen is that each year they use a certain amount of money to do the program, and then once that money runs out, you have to wait until the next fiscal year for it to be done again. So the answer that I'm coming up with is that I think it's unfortunate that Tesla hasn't made a move to garner more of the sales from this, because I think there are a lot of folks who would benefit from it. I'm particularly surprised because it turns out that yes, Tesla does do most of its manufacturing truck production in Northern California, but in Southern California, the design center that you've all seen and heard and probably seen introduction of new vehicles is in a place called Hawthorne, California. So it's just south of the airport in Los Angeles, and it's no more than 6 or 7 miles to the port. So there are a lot of Tesla electric trucks that are sitting at the service center that could easily be part of the drayage program, moving freight off the docks to inland locations successfully, and selling a lot of trucks in the process. As you know, Elon has chosen not to push the truck forward rapidly, and I just think it's a missed opportunity relative to these sales. So this show today was designed to simply introduce the fact that there are a lot of places around the world, and another place that comes to mind is in Germany. There's some question as to whether or not Tesla's sales are going to be as strong as they've been in the past, because there are some European restrictions on the amount of subsidies that are allowed relative to the German budget. And so it's my understanding that the discounts offered per vehicle by the government of Germany have now had to cease because of sort of bumping up against the amount they're allowed to spend relative to the budget, as I said. But the point is that being an early mover, first mover, really makes a difference in terms of establishing your footprint. And you have to congratulate those that have already benefited from the program, have moved/sold a lot of vehicles, and that's a great situation. The other thing I should note here is that I thought the Tesla Semi, et cetera, would be heavily punished by lack of being prepared in this manner. And it's my understanding that what's happening right now is there are actually a lot of freight and grocery and other companies that are spread throughout the United States into Canada. And those folks may choose to actually use their Volkswagen settlement to offer incentives in this space as well. But if there are no vehicles to sell to those customers, for now, it may not be that big a deal. So overall, I would say that it's great California is using the money in this manner. It's great that there are a lot of vehicles being sold. It's excellent that at least 100 of those vehicles that have gotten onto the road are a reflection of bills that Tesla has done for at least the Pepsi folks. And so my sense of things is that this will improve as we get scale production from Tesla. It's just a matter of time for that to occur. So overall, I think we're in a very unusual, strange place. The reason is that there's this theory here where, look, if you have a $400,000 vehicle and you're getting a $250K discount on it, it's about the same price as an ICE truck. So what happens when we move into the Midwest or other places that don't have these incentives in terms of buyers? I think the answer to it is that Tesla offers leases that are long-term instead of just straight sales. And the benefit you can offer here is that Tesla could, in theory, allow those vehicles to run for the 150,000 miles a year that they would normally do for 3 years or so. And you've run about 500,000. They could overhaul the vehicles and put them back out there as used. And the overhaul only takes a few days because there are so few parts. And now you have the ability of the truck to run about 1 million miles. So both the customers and Tesla benefits from how this might work out, because the leasing portion of that 400,000 is they're leasing for a cost on maybe $180K, $190,000 rather than the full 400,000. And now you have, it's not totally competitive with a $150,000 ICE truck, but it's a lot better deal than the 400,000 number. And then the other issue that's going on right now, as you know, is Elon predicted there would be just huge expenses related to lithium-powered batteries. We've seen a 75% plus drop in prices. So hence, that has not occurred. So now those truck batteries can work a little better in terms of what the cost is going to be for those vehicles, with the battery packs being the most expensive portion of that. So as you've seen for this show, we've chosen to sort of include screenshots from the HVIP program in the state of California if you're really interested in the Tesla semi and electric vehicles. And, if you're in Europe and other places, some of this is being picked up in terms of process that's being shared throughout the world. And if you have any experience or comments in this arena, we'd love to hear your comments. This is the end of our sort of Tesla comments for today. We look forward to our show after the numbers come out on the 1st. We also want to thank you for taking time to join us. Just a reminder, you're 25 legless a day. Wanted to encourage you to try a 2-week period of going to bed and waking up at the same time each day. And the goal being to establish and maintain circadian rhythms along a certain schedule, which I think will really help you get better rest in the process. I am not a pure winner of it, but I am working hard to incorporate low or no sugar in the diet as a way to improve overall health. I definitely think it's making a difference, and just wanted to encourage you to give it a whirl as well. At any rate, this is Greg for Teslafaninsight. Tschüss, au revoir, la hit road, hoda high feds, in Jamaica we say enough respect, walk good.